Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jagal and I'm a master's student here in the US. In this video, I'm going to break down everything about the GRE Quant section and how I scored 169 out of 170 when I gave the GRE exam. So first, we are going to go into what the GRE Quant section is, how many questions there are, what kind of questions would be asked, and then we would go on to my tips so that you are familiar with the kind of questions that you can expect and how many questions there are. So according to ETS, which is the company which conducts the GRE exam, there are two sections for quants. The first section contains 12 questions and the second section contains 15 questions. And the first section has 21 minutes and the second section has 26 minutes. So that gives you approximately 1 minute and 45 seconds per question of quant. Now that's not a lot of time to solve one particular question, but there are a few questions which are super easy and can be solved in about 10-15 seconds with the correct analytical capabilities, and some questions do take up to 2 and 2.5 minutes. So you have to kind of divide your time between those two types of questions so that you can get through the section in time. Now there are mostly 4 different kinds of questions which you can expect on the GRE Quant section. One is the multiple choice question, which has only one single option correct. The second is multiple choice multi-correct options, in which multiple options can be correct. The third is a numerical entry question in which you have to manually input what the answer would be for that numerical value. And the fourth is in which you just do a quantitative comparison between two values, in which you will say whether one value is greater than, less than, or equal to the second value in the comparison. So the GRE won't test you on your advanced calculus or stuff like that. It will basically test you on basic core math concepts like algebra, geometry, arithmetic, and data analysis. So you should kind of develop a study plan which incorporates all of these topics, in which you can practice as many questions as possible. If you have some sort of weak area in which you want to improve on, if you need more time to prepare, you should ideally review those areas first before starting with the timed practice section. The way I divided my preparation was I had 8 weeks to prepare. So in the first 4 weeks, I just prepared normally of every different section, what kind of questions there are, what kind of topics would I have to prepare. And in the next 4 weeks, I did a timed practice for each and every type of questions that are there in the quant section. But in the first 4 weeks, I recommend you to focus on key math formulas and concepts and how you can solve the questions which have been asked on the GRE paper in previous years. There are loads of resources online in which you can go through multiple years of papers and just the questions, in fact, and practice those questions for that particular topic. And while you're doing all of this, you also want to keep a track of how you're progressing through the grades, how you're progressing through the numbers and the marks that you score on the exam. So you should at least once a week take a timed practice test for a particular section. You don't need to take it for both the sections together. You can just take it for one section at a time. And when you are done with one section, just count your score, what are you scoring, and keep a track of it so you can see how you're progressing with the new things that you're learning, new tricks that you're learning, and the new formulas that you are learning every day. If you're struggling with some topic, you can go online and look up for resources, in which there are tons of resources like Manhattan Prep, Magoosh, and others. They have certain free resources as well, and you can find free resources if you look for it online. So you can look at those resources and then practice those particular concepts and how they want you to learn, because they have been doing this for years and that's how they have prepared all of this material, which is so dense, so well put together that you cannot go wrong with those resources. And that's what I did for the concepts which I was weak at. The next would be to use ETS's official test prep guides. They have their own tests, their guides, which you can utilize to actually make a difference for your quant score and how you are scoring in that subject. There are multiple time tests which you can take. There are tons of resources like I said about Manhattan Prep, Magoosh, and other online free resources as well, which you can use to give tests and just keep practicing more and more questions, because there is no way out other than just practicing new questions. Because if you're not able to solve it in time or solve it efficiently, you won't be able to score a very good score for the GRE Quant section. While practicing section-based tests are good to make a solid fundamentals in that particular section, it is also important to give a full-length test time and again. Like every couple of weeks, you should give at least one full-length test, including the verbal section as well, so that you know how you are transitioning from one section to the other when it comes to the actual testing. The next thing which I did was to brush up on my basic math skills, because I was in college for 4 years before giving my GRE and I didn't want to lose touch with my basic math skills before I gave the exam and just assume that I would know everything. It's a fairly common assumption that people just think that they know everything and they just go to give tests. But the GRE section, while it has basic math, it has a very twisted way of asking those questions. So you should actually practice from the official question banks which are available online. I will link a few down below as well. So you should ideally practice from those question banks and then utilize them to move further and progress further with the kind of speed that you're getting. The next thing is to just practice. Because if you're not practicing enough and not solving enough problems, you won't be aware of what all kind of problems are there on the actual test, and you won't be able to figure out a problem when you look at it, because time is a key over here, and the more you practice, the better you get at certain kinds of problems, and when you're getting better at it, you're also solving it in less amount of time. That's also one way to get better at questions. So the more efficiently you're able to solve by practicing more questions, the better it is for you when it comes to the final exam. So there you have it. These are the few tips that I used to score 116 out of 170 when I gave my GRE, and hope it helps you. If you have any more questions or want to know anything more about the GRE Quant section, just put them down in the comments below and I'll be happy to respond to you guys and help you out. Please give this video a thumbs up, and if you like these kinds of videos, consider subscribing to the channel as it helps me out massively, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.